What's up, everyone? I just got 2 new goats. Look at her squeaks. They're really sweet. I'm Twisted Cake. Here I am with some gorgeous Nigerian girls to join my herd. Was I planning on getting them? Absolutely not. When I saw them, could I pass them up? Absolutely not. Do I need more goats? As someone yours truly formerly has said, I have a lot of goats.
Past me has not seen these goats, so she doesn't understand why I bought them.
Call it shopping therapy or whatever it is after you endure a thunderstorm that lasts for more than a couple hours.
Anyone not wondering why I'm jabbing a fishing net up at a canopy other than getting unsuspecting people wet? To explain, it was raining so fast and furious that the canopies we are under hold water, and if I didn't keep draining them, they would collapse. And then everyone would get wet. Or more wet. The canopies are trying their best. I mean, there's enough holes where it can sort of drain, but just not quick enough. Storms in Florida come on quickly. Hence why me and my dad are now standing under these fashionably distressed canopies during a thunderstorm. Neither did I, determined customer. Some storms can last for 5 minutes, and others for hours.
Are you serious right now?
Complete with wind and thunder. Our main priority is making sure the animals stay safe and dry. Mission accomplished. Can't say the same for my shoes, though.
So I saw these cutie pies, and I'm like, I have got to get these. Check them out. Check them out. The parents on these are registered, and that means I can go ahead and register these girlies, breed them with Tucker Thor from BC, that's Blue Cactus, and I'll have me some goat kids that are registerable. Mosquitoes are insane, peeps. They don't have names yet, so we need some name suggestions, y'all. Get up here, comment, tell me what you think we should call these. If I want to follow a similar theme that Blue Cactus does, like how Thor came from Trixie. His name started with a T, well, because he was Tucker. Then I moved it to Thor. Tucker Thor. So maybe we should do the same thing on these other girls. So their mom's name, according to the papers, is Magnolia. So that's an M name. So maybe we should give these girls some M names. And I was thinking M with flowers. But you tell me what you all think. Give me some name suggestions, guys. I am terrible at naming things. So I'm leaving it up to y'all to give me some ideas so we can name these 2 girls so they can be part of the herd and the family. If you want a personality based on them, brown one's really sweet, white one's really curious. So let's go from that and see what we can come up with. They are 6 months now and a good size and weight. They are just 2 adorable, very, very bonded sisters, by the way. You separate one and they cry for the other one. There we go. Girls. So as I was saying, sisters and bonded pretty hard. So it's all part of my plan to up my goat game and sell some registerable, higher quality Nigerian dwarf goats. Because my customer base likes cute and flashy. I think those girls will provide that. But also in addition, these guys are, girlies here, are more geared and centered towards milking lines, which is also what I'm after. Because I'm after that milk.
Delicious.
I want to make the goat cheese and I want to make the goat soaps and do all the goat dairy things. And this gets me closer to my goal. So yes, did I not need them? Absolutely not. But you know what? When you think about it, I did need them. And that's why they're here. Again, these mosquitoes. But we do, like anything, before we buy, I wanted to go through my checklist. I have a checklist that I do, and I'd like to show you what I do with my goats before I buy. And hopefully, maybe you can learn a thing or two and pick up a tip or technique. So whenever you're out goat shopping, you can look at a goat and kind of get an idea, hey, should I buy it? Clearly I decided to buy these, so it passed all the checks. Or at least the checks that I have installed in place.
So you see a goat that you want to buy. Let's stop a second and make sure there's nothing obviously wrong. And to do that, we are going to get twisted. What? Twisted Cape is my acronym for how we are going to remember the steps it takes when it comes to checking out the basic health of a goat. Use this method before you buy a goat or whenever you are checking up on a goat in your herd. It covers the basics, and all you need is your eyes and the goat in question. I'll tell you what to look out for. So let's get started. We'll begin with
The teeth.
goats have 32 total teeth.
They do not have upper front teeth called incisors. Instead, they have a top dental pad that meshes with their bottom teeth. They do have both top and bottom molars.
But we are focusing on the 8 bottom teeth that are up front. You can roughly age a goat up to around 4 years by looking at this teeth.
This is under a year old because she has all her baby teeth. Adult teeth, these 2 teeth will be bigger. And when these 2 teeth are bigger than the rest of the teeth, that is about 1 year old. That's an example of one that is over a year old. If she were 2 years old, these teeth and the teeth to the left and right of it would be bigger. 3 years, that's the next thing. The 3 teeth on this side and the 3 teeth on the other side will be bigger. You can age them up to about 4 years. Past that, it's a little hard to tell. After that, you'd have to go with the evenness and wear of the teeth. Those are all baby teeth.
Gums should not be pale. But you want to make sure that the bottom teeth mesh properly with the top pad,
which will never get teeth. Just like that. Perfect. See the 2 front teeth sticking out like that? That is not properly lined up. Or they don't have any extra teeth. I've had goats before, they have a 9th tooth that comes up right up the middle. So check to make sure your goat does an extra tooth. Because if you're breeding, if you plan on breeding them, it's important that they don't have these defects. Which brings me to other things. Multiple teats. Make sure your girl's only got 2. You don't want a third that's either an extra one hanging off the side or attached to the one. Again, that can be bred. That can be spread genetically. And if I'm after genetics and breeding, they can't have that. Doesn't mean they still can't be an adorable pet. All goats can be adorable pets. But if you're looking for breeding, you don't want the extra teeth and you don't want that extra teeth. It's just not gonna work.
At the W, we wait. Too bad this wasn't the first letter in our acronym, but let's check something before we go any further. Like, why do you want a goat?
Wanting one as a pet can be reason enough. They are highly entertaining and affectionate.
There's my cat. There he goes. He's giving the camera kisses. You're so sweet.
Other points to take into account is their usability, such as mowing grass, cleaning out the weeds, and fertilizing your garden. And they like to climb, as in climbing on top of your brand new car.
So give them something to climb on. Agricultural benefits with goats include meat.
Whoa, what?
The milk will provide you with all your dairy needs, especially with the Nigerian dwarfs because of how high their butterfat is.
Delicious.
The meat part might conflict with the pet aspect, but as with any animal that you intend to own, they should all be treated humanely.
Okay, now that we know that the answer is always yes to wanting a goat, let's take it into account the goat's weight.
So my new girls are going to be a few of the examples of what it looks like to see when a goat is in good weight. See how she is filled out back here? So you want to check out the area between her hip and pin bones to see if it is concaved. Slightly concaved is okay, but you want it to look either just in line with her body or slightly round. If you can see her spine, if you can see her ribs, if this area is dished in severely, she is extremely underweight. Slight concaving is okay, but it should never be dished in really bad like this one here. If your goats have been foraging all day, they can look a little on the wide side. Take note of Cappy here, who's been enjoying the grass and foraging all day long, and how wide she is. So the wideness, not the best indication if they are overweight. Did you have a big lunch? Is that what this is? But signs that your goat is obese would be looking way too chunky back here, and you know she's not pregnant, so she's holding some extra fat here. Look how filled out he is. Well, you never really see ribs on a goat when they're a good weight, like these girls.
Moving on to the I, which stands for infestation, because goats can get
Bugs.
the different bugs being
Ticks. Oh my gosh.
mites and lice. The last 2 being host-specific and not affecting humans. Lice is very common in goats, so be sure to look carefully.
We boiled it down to 2 main types.
The biting lice and the sucking lice.
They are both pretty small, but can still be seen. Lice have a narrow profile, whereas mites are smaller and more round. You might see a mite, but you might not. More than likely, you'll see the results of mites, which appear to be scabby. The chewing lice are more visible on darker fur because these lice are tan in color.
They will feed on the hair and skin of a goat.
So it's funny, on white fur, you can see the blood-sucking lice, as they are darker in color because they are typically blood-filled and can contribute to loss of blood. Note that lice can be found all over your goat, so you want to look down the ridge of their back, backs of the legs, around their neck area, around their ears, and also a lot of times on the top of the head is where you will find not just the bugs, but the nits. Nits are lice eggs, and they will be found at the base, usually around the horn area, disbudded or not. Little white oval looking things that are attached to the bottom of the hairs. Those are eggs of lice. So what do you do if you find these bugs? Burn them off, yeah! Well, that might work. There is an easier or more simple solution. Fine. These girls, I didn't find a single bug on. But I do have a remedy that I'd like to share with you that works when I do have to spray goats. Because a lot of times when I get goats, they got bugs. If you do not find any bugs, I do not recommend spraying them. Permethrin is a poison.
If by chance one day you do find some bugs on your goats, the less fiery way is to use permethrin as a topical spray. They can be treated with 1% permethrin. You can get concentrated 10% permethrin and use 2 teaspoons in a quart bottle and add water to bring it up to 1 quart total solution. You want to spray entire body until it's saturated and let dry. But be careful not to get it in their eyes, their nose, in their ears, or around sensitive areas back here. And also try not to let them lick it. Wear gloves if you're going to do this. Repeat 12 to 14 days later to kill any eggs that have hatched.
Let's move on to S for skin. You want to feel your goat all over for any wounds that have scabbed over.
You also need to feel all over for any lumps or lesions, especially at the neck, jawline, or shoulders.
Sometimes if you find a lump that is rather large and non-painful, it seems to the goat, it could be a sign of CL.
Caseous lymphadenitis. Did I say that right? These abscesses can rupture and drain, so if no lumps are found, you are looking for any fresh wounds or wounds that have been scabbed over.
And if it is CL, it can infect your herd. So make sure they don't have any weird lumps and bumps on them. Obviously, outward appearances don't tell the whole story. There could be internal things wrong that we can't see. Either the breeder didn't know or they didn't disclose it. Take your time, go patient with him, because he kind of likes it because it's a little bit of a massage. But sometimes, because he is like a little teenager right now, he can be a little fussy and not want to cooperate.
Now for the other T, trimming.
Make sure we check those hooves. I knew at the time when I bought these girls needed trimming, only minorly. Left untrimmed, it could have foot rot, hoof rot. And that really happens more commonly in hot and humid conditions, where it can get infected and look red, inflamed, and swollen, and they will have a hard time walking. Because not only does the trimming help against foot rot, but they have a better position to stand.
Untrimmed hooves can lead to stress on their joints.
Now we've come to E, which stands for eyes. It's one of the biggest things you're going to look at in a goat to tell if it is in good health.
From the outside, you want to make sure that they are bright-eyed and no discharge.
Pay close attention to any cloudiness or redness and any excessive weeping.
If this area is pink and inflamed and also cloudy, it could be pink eye, which is highly infectious, and you don't want any part of that in your herd.
Then we are going to pull down their bottom eyelid, which will expose the inner lining. We're focusing on the color here, the range going from a blushing tomato red, which is normal, to vampire pale, which is cause for concern.
You're looking right at the center of the eyelid. See how it is a nice deep red? She is perfect. Perfect color.
What we are doing is evaluating your goat for anemia, which is a condition that occurs when the number of red blood cells in the blood decreases below normal. The immediate concern with a pale inner lining is that the goat might have a high worm load, specifically of the barber pole worm, which can cause death and must be treated. Note, anemia can also be caused by those pesky sucking lice or an infection, which would require further investigating. Keep in mind that the eyelid color is not the complete answer. Colors of these inner linings vary from goat to goat. Everything discussed here are guidelines to help you become more informed and make better decisions. As for today, we are all about the quick and dirty. There will be other videos in the future to cover all kinds of goat things in greater detail. Comment below if there is something that you are particularly interested in.
Now let's get after that D for demeanor. Goats should always be alert and lively. You know when they are relaxed and enjoying their best life, chewing on their cud. Goats should never be hunched with their back arched and barely moving. That is a sign that they are in critical distress. Goats are naturally curious. If you see them, in other words, looking sad, something is very wrong and should be addressed. You'll also want to make sure that they are eating and have a good appetite. When a goat goes off feed, it is a definite cause for concern. Jumping on prom-proms like Florida girls do. And how about that C for coat? Goats have a wide variety of coat colors, but they should always be smooth and slightly shiny. It can range from short hair to long hair, but it must never be rough coat. A rough coat is an indication that something could be wrong with the goat, ranging from a parasitic load to a nutrient deficiency. When you see a rough coat on a goat, that's just telling you that that is not normal and how they should look, but there's lots of things that can indicate why they have a rough coat. Very hard to diagnose a problem and how to apply a solution. A brings us to appearance. You're looking at the overall picture of the goat. Does it stand tall, head held up, and have a nice gait? Take our macro view before we focus on a few areas, such as paying attention to their face, particularly around the beard area where it would look swollen. This can be bottle jaw, or in other words, the goat is retaining water, which is another symptom of an overload of the barber pole worm. The next thing to see is if they have a runny nose or eyes. Listen for a sniffle, or if they are having trouble breathing. A healthy goat should not have any green or cloudy mucousy discharge coming out of their nose. Or a goat should not have a persistent lingering cough. Also, when you're looking at them, check out their knee joints and make sure they're not swollen. Particularly notice if there's any swelling or they're having difficulty walking. A lot of times, swollen knee joints can be a sign of CAE,
which stands for caprine arthritis encephalitis.
Did I say that one right? P has got one of the very important tells in animal health, their poop. Check for DAGs, which is matted fur mixed with feces. Goats should not have diarrhea. A healthy goat has beautiful chocolate pelts that can almost pass for milk duds. Just ask my dogs. Diarrhea can range from soft to watery. If it's watery and smells worse than normal poop, it is more severe and will require one to take action. Many factors, including dietary change, stress, or coccidiosis, can cause diarrhea. So commonly, if they've had diarrhea for a while, you would see it caked on their tail where it's been running and also down their legs. They should always have a very clean booty. We always want clean booties. And let's not forget about those ears. Look in the ears of those goats too to make sure they are clean and clear. There's a specific mite that does the ears, and it will look really scaly and stabby inside there. While it seems like a lot, once you got this acronym down, you will be able to assess in mere minutes whether you want this cute caprine or not. Yes, one could argue that the items on the acronym could go in different categories. But if you follow Twisted Cape from T to E, you won't go wrong. Using your eyes with the rest of your senses, including common sense, is a very valuable tool, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Oftentimes when you're thinking about buying a goat, just stand there and watch them while you're having a conversation with the seller. Take note when they pee and what color it is. How are they acting while they are in their little environment? You can gain a lot of info in the short time that you're just standing there. And we are talking about the goat, not the seller. But then again, you might also want to note how the seller is presenting themselves as well. Oftentimes when they are doing their best to look good, more than likely, they're doing the same for their goats too. I wanted to come up with something that would be a little more memorable to help you. And besides, what else would I use? I am twisted after all. And now, you can be too. I thank you guys a lot for watching and subscribing. If you want to see more of my videos and get notified, make sure you ring that bell. And like I always like to remind you, don't forget to stay twisted.